world political experience, but it was just a brilliant speech. She followed. She had the, just as Elizabeth Warren had the misfortune of following Michelle Obama's speech. She had the good fortune of following Cory Booker's good, then fair, then get him off of the stage. Then where's the hook? Where's the hook? He won't shut up. He's an interesting politician.
Cory Booker traditionally has gone on stage, and he got very little news from his.
He obviously was practiced, maybe over practiced. The gestures, the looks. Perspiring heavily never helps for some reason in politics.
As Richard Nixon,
and he had to deal with that. But it's like I hadn't. I'm aware of him and I've seen him a little bit, and I started out thinking this is pretty good. He's got the moves and so on, and then wrap it up, buddy, wrap it up. And the people with me who tend to favor the Democrats were like, yeah, he is going on too long. I was like, could you finish, please? And then it was like, when's Michelle coming on? Is she going to be next? And then the sign, it was like Michelle Obama up next. It was like, let's get to that. So it was interesting, sort of this the personal reactions to this stuff. Everybody loved Michelle Obama.
If I can just add one thing, one particular line that occasionally the cynical politics is easy to get lost in. Just it's another political speech, but one of those Americana points that just noteworthy in American history for me was when Michelle Obama pointed out that she, an African American woman married to the first African American or black president, raised her two African American daughters in a house that was helped built by former slaves, or by slaves at the time.
That was built by. She didn't even
slaves.
say help. She
that
said
was built
by slaves.
That was built by slaves. As far as the progression of American history, I think that's something that, unfortunately, there isn't enough time to pause to even think about that. This is something how the United States can progress over time.
Well, the thing that impressed me was she was able to talk about race in a way that somehow didn't have the sharp points that so often happen when people talk about race. She talked about her children and their dog playing on the White House lawn.
Yeah.
And it made a very powerful point, but did so without sticking her thumb in a bunch of eyes.
Well, and your point were all part of the same paragraph, where she said, here we are living in the White House built by slaves, and I can look out my window and see my two beautiful African American daughters playing on the White House lawn with their dogs.
Yes.
And she got emotional, just a touch. Everybody in my house got emotional. It was a really extraordinary moment, and it was a great speech, and it didn't go on and on. And Cory went on way too long, and Bernie went on way too long. Elizabeth was fine, but she was sort of wedged in between, and her job was to just slash at Trump. Fine, but it was kind of old news, just like Bernie was old news.
Maybe long speeches don't necessarily kill a person's political career, because I remember sitting through an endless speech by Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
a couple of two or three conventions ago, and
it almost finished him, but but he figured it out and did better the next time.
But he became one of the great speech makers of his era.
Yeah.
But that first one was...
I believe his biggest applause line was the convention speech in '88, I believe. It was the keynote for Michael Dukakis, and his biggest ovation line was when he said the words, and I quote, "In conclusion, the entire room erupted."
Yes.
So giving a long speech is not always the death knell, but how you respond to it is more predictive of how things go on. But that being said, Bill Clinton is currently slated to be speaking this evening. While I don't have the final schedule, I believe he is one of the last speakers for the evening. So what do you think Bill Clinton is going to bring to the stage tonight, Alan?
I don't know. This is not an easy speech. He has got to sing the praises of the Barack Obama presidency, his wife, and how she will build on she will build on the legacy. It's a delicate act. He can't go overboard in praising Obama. He can't call his wife just 4 or 8 more years of the same thing. So he's got to be complimentary of the president. He will talk about how good things are today compared to 8 years ago. How his wife is perfectly positioned after a lifetime of service to pick things up from where we are and keep things steady even as we move in some new, important, and good ways. He'll throw out some happy talk about Bernie. This is the thing that amuses me. All these people who don't agree with Bernie, who are driven crazy because Bernie wouldn't get out, and they're all now talking about what a great patriot and American he is, because they're so fearful of offending any of his followers. So rather than say what they feel, which is, it's about time, Bernie, for you to shut up and get out of the way, it'll be, oh, Bernie, what a champion of the little guy. We're all in Bernie's debt. Thank you. We love you, Bernie, and we love your followers. That will be. He'll have a little of that. He's got several things he has to do. Now he's pretty good, and he knows he can't talk for an hour. So I'm kind of curious about him. Now there's some other people.
Do you think he'll inoculate? I mean, since one of the campaign issues, at least that Trump has brought up, is the Clinton Foundation. Do you think he'll touch on that and try to inoculate against any of the pending attacks?
I don't think he'll go there. I think he's got enough other things to talk about. They'll save that for later. But he could, he could say, people ask about the foundation. Oh my God, we are so proud of the work we've done. There's some statistics. I think that's a diversion that he doesn't need to pick up when he is in prime time on Tuesday night at the convention. Plenty of time later for that. He'll do press conferences and so on.
Congressman Al.
I don't know what he's going to do, but I believe it's going to be very impressive. Aside from that first speech that I mentioned that went on too long, I can't recall him giving a speech since that wasn't impressive and didn't pick the right note. I saw him do something once. They had a memorial service for Bob Matsui, who was a California congressman who passed away, and there were about 10 people lined up to speak. The last one was Bill Clinton, and what he did when he finally spoke is he picked the theme of the first person that spoke and wove it into the theme of the second person who spoke, and wove that into the third person who spoke all the way down the line, and then wrapped it up. Obviously not prepared, and just the memory of being able to remember what each person's theme was and work that all together into an overall speech was amazing, absolutely amazing. So I think this is a much more critical speech for him than that was, and I think he's going to do a very good job.
One that strikes me, one thing he might do is talk about what Obama did, but what Obama might have done and wanted to do, but for the evil Republican Congress, and spend a little time talking about the importance of voting for Hillary Clinton, but getting to the polls and getting a Congress that she can work with rather than have to be at odds with, because they want her to fail just as much as they wanted Obama to fail. So I can see some Congress bashing along the way.
Well, that being said, since there are political conventions and they're not always about substance, in response to Chachi and an underwear model speaking at the Republican convention, the Democrats have tried to see if they can find actors and actresses who can line up. So I don't know how Meryl Streep lines up against Chachi, but she's also slated to speak this evening.
How about Lena Dunham? Everybody in the country and the world has seen her naked, so we should have her up. We're going to have her up there too, right?
Yes, Lena Dunham, the actress and writer of the HBO series Girls, who has also been a early Hillary Clinton supporter, early and public Hillary Clinton supporter.
Right. She's public in a lot of things in a lot of ways. Meryl Streep, classy, actress, undeniably. Alicia Keys, I think, is going to perform tonight, or
I believe
speak and
correct.
Perform. But it's hard. You want to reward people who have supported you, but if you're an actor or an actress and you've done anything controversial, and Lena Dunham certainly has. It's there's always just a little bit of risk that their professional life and personal life can create some potential challenges. I'm sure they've worried about this.
Do we know if she's going to be on? The convention coverage starts at 10 o'clock at night. And there are speeches that are given before then. And the Republicans, a number of those were buried in time before 10 o'clock. I wonder if...
Chachi was given a primetime spot, as was the underwear model.
Yes. That's right. But will the Democrats make the same mistake? I don't know.
The convention's on underway right now. They're doing the roll call of the states. They're doing the count of nominating Hillary and letting the Bernie lovers and probably the handful of O'Malley supporters cast their ballots.
And for people that are watching it on CNN, they will get that. People watching it on NBC, CBS, etc., may not see. It depends on where they place it on the clock.
I mean, that's an interesting question in and of itself that we can get to in our next segment, because as for those of us who have been following politics for years, we also can note that the major networks have cut down dramatically on convention coverage in the last 20 years from what it used to be. It used to be wall-to-wall at a minimum from 8 p.m. till 11, and now it's been cut back dramatically. But we can talk about that, as well as one topic that has been glaringly stepped on from both nominees, and that's their number twos. But more when we come back.